The reason most people won't get lean is normally it comes down to a few different things, right? It's not normally one thing as to why someone can't get lean, right? It's normally multiple things that all sort of add up together, right? Um, and you'll find that a lot of people, they don't have the mindset when it comes to getting lean and staying lean, because it's very easy to get lean, but to actually stay lean, that's when it becomes quite difficult for the majority of people, right? Because that's when you actually need to have a whole mindset shift. You have to think about how you think about nutrition. You have to think about the food you're consuming. You have to think about the time you're going to bed. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you training enough? There's various different things you have to think about when you want to stay lean. There's so many different factors, that you have to take into account. And for a lot of people, they don't actually have the mindset to stay lean because, like I said, it's easy, right? I've seen so many people get into shape or lose weight, right? I'm not saying that it's an easy task to lose weight. It still requires discipline, still requires consistency. But I've seen a lot of people, they've lost weight, and then once they've lost the weight, they put it all back on again, right? So they've lost all this weight, they're looking good, they're feeling good, and then I'll see them like maybe a year later or a few months later, and they're fat again, right? Because most people can only maintain that mindset to get lean or to lose weight for a short period of time. And then when they realize that, okay, I have to actually sustain this lifestyle if I want to stay in shape and I want to stay lean all year round, then they're like, oh crap, like, I thought I could just get in shape and I would stay in shape. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works when it comes to fitness, when it comes to getting a good physique, right? You need a whole identity shift. You need a whole mindset change. You have to change your mindset, because if you don't change your mindset and you just think that you can get in shape and then you can go back to your old habits that you was doing before you got in shape, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go back to how you was looking before, right? Maybe even worse. So this is why you need to change your mindset, your identity. You need to think to yourself, okay, look, I've had some really bad habits over the years. I'm going to change my mindset. I'm going to change the way I view food. I'm going to change my nutrition. I'm going to do a bit of study and a bit of research and actually look into nutrition and what's actually good for you and what's not. There's loads of, like, even on YouTube, there's loads of different like meal plan days where people will do like a day in the life of their whole meals and things like that. And that's really good to watch because, especially if you're watching someone who's natural, um, you can just follow a lot of the time you can follow their meal plans, right? And you can make your meals interesting. It doesn't have to be just bland food and you're only putting salt and pepper and you're just having chicken, broccoli, and rice. No, you can have some variety, you can have some flavor, but you just need to make sure you're eating the right foods. But like I said, you need a complete mind shift change. You need to change your mindset. You have to, because like I said, if you don't change your mindset, you're gonna get in shape and then you're just gonna put it all back on. Because I done that, right? I done that, and I lost all this weight, right? I lost probably almost 20 pounds, right? And I got into good shape, yeah. And I'm gonna do a video about it one time because I was probably 25, maybe 30% body fat, right? And I lost pretty much all of it, got down to a low body fat, and then I put that weight back on again. All right. And I just kept thinking to myself, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Because I didn't have the right mindset, you know. I would get into shape, and then what I would do is I would go back to my old habits. And I thought I could just get in shape and then that's it. But that's not the case. Like once you get in shape, you have to realize that this is something that you have to maintain. And if you don't maintain it, you will lose it. Because a good body is rented, right? It's like everything, right? Like this place I live in is rented. If I stop paying the bills, guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm gonna lose the flat, right? It's the same with your body. If you stop training, you stop eating right like you was to get to that destination, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna put all that weight back on. Yeah. So this is why I say you need a mindset shift. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your identity because too many people make the mistake of thinking that they can get in shape and then that's it. They can just relax now. But that's not, don't get me wrong, maintaining a lean physique becomes a lot easier than it is to actually get lean because once you in the journey of getting lean, you're gonna feel a lot more uncomfortable than you are when you're just trying to maintain a lean physique. Because when you're trying to get lean, you're gonna have hunger pains. You're gonna have days where you don't want to track your calories. You're gonna have days where you don't want to train. You're gonna have days where you don't want to get your steps in. You're gonna have days where you just want to binge and just eat whatever you want. That's normal, but it's about pushing through those days. So that's why I say maintaining a lean physique is a lot easier than it is actually getting lean because once you get lean and you actually reverse diet, yeah, and come out of your cut and you reverse diet out of your cut, you do it properly and you don't just cut and then you put all your calories up and then you're back to square one. But if you actually do it properly, you cut, you reverse diet and lean gain, right? That then maintaining that lean physique becomes so much easier. Yeah, because you can actually eat more and still maintain a lean physique. So the majority of people, this is what I say, the majority of people will never get to their destination and stay in that destination because they just don't have the discipline, the consistency. Because when it comes to getting lean, it's like most people just don't have the discipline. Like at the end of the day, if you just have a bit of discipline and consistency and you do all the things that you're supposed to do for 6 months to a year, your physique will change. But sometimes you need time, and people don't have delayed gratification. I think I've spoken about it before in some of my previous videos, but you need delayed gratification. You need to understand that this is going to take time. It's going to take you know uh a while. It's not just gonna you're not gonna eat good for one day and you wake up with a lean and aesthetic physique. That's just not how it works. That's not how your body works. Fat loss does take time. And I think once you understand the fact that fat loss takes time and you're okay with that, it makes your life so much more bliss and peaceful. You know, you understand the fact that, okay, this is going to take time. This is going to be a journey, but I'm willing to just ride that journey out, and I'm going to keep riding that journey out until I get to where I want to be. Because if you do that, eventually you're going to reach your destination. If you're just willing to stick to the plan for long enough to achieve the results you want, and then once you're lean, you only need to get lean once. This is the great thing about it, right? Once you get lean, yeah, like I said, it's so much easier to maintain if you do the right things after your cut. Because a lot of people will make the mistake of cutting. They get down to a low body fat percentage and they go, oh, I'm going to bulk, I'm going to bulk. And then they bulk and they put all that fat back on again. And now they've got to do a long cut for another 3 to 6 months, right? But if you do the right things after you've cut, you won't then find that you need to go on a huge cut again. You can get lean and stay lean, right? But you need to know what you're doing. And that's why I think it's important. If you haven't got like a fitness coach or someone, then I think it's important that you actually hire a coach or someone to train you, because you might think that you know it all, but reality is a lot of us don't, and if you can't afford the funds of a fitness coach like I couldn't, then go onto YouTube and study. Learn from other people, learn from their mistakes, learn about what they've done wrong, learn obviously about the things that they've done right and what helped them. Because if you do that, you're putting yourself in a much better position. But if you're just sort of like, thinking to yourself, oh, I'm gonna cut, I'm gonna do this and that, but you don't really have any sort of idea as to what you're gonna be doing during your cut, after your cut, then you're setting yourself up for failure, you know? So you need a plan, because without a plan, you're planning to fail, as they say, right? So you always need a plan and what you're gonna do during the cut, after the cut, how you're gonna maintain it. And once you've got that plan in place, then you just need to follow it and have the patience to follow it. Because if you have the patience to follow it and you have a bit of discipline and a bit of delayed gratification, you will get to where you want to be. Like I said, it will take time. It will. But that is part of the process, right? There's no shortcuts when it comes to fitness. You just you can't shortcut a good physique. I don't know if you remember there was a guy called Mike Chang, right? He was I don't even know if he's about. I've not really seen him on YouTube and stuff now, but he was back in the day. I remember when I was like 17, 18, maybe even younger than that, to be honest. And I was following his plan, six pack shortcuts he used to call it. And I was following this plan, and all it was at home exercises and things you could do to just burn extra calories and that. It was nothing special, right? But then I'm pretty sure he was forced to change his name, because obviously there's no shortcut to getting six packs, right? So he was forced to actually change his name so he could no longer call it six pack shortcuts. But again, it was like this thing, and everyone was following it and saying, "Oh yeah, six pack shortcuts. This is a really great program." But at the end of the day, there's no shortcuts to getting a good physique. You can't. You have to earn it, and that's why people will respect you so much more when you get in shape, because it's something you have to earn. It can't be given to you. There's no shortcuts, there's no cheat code. It's not a video game. You can't cheat your way to a good physique. You have to earn it. And that's one thing where, in life, where everyone's just trying to um everyone wants just instant gratification. Everyone wants things now. If they can't have it now, then they don't want it and they just can't be bothered, right? But if you actually have the mindset to think to yourself, no, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna take time, I'm happy to wait, and realizing the fact that it will take time, but when you get to where you want to be, then it's everything else just falls into place. Because once you get lean as well, like, you'll realize that so many other things in your life will start to fall into place. Yeah, but you just need that whole mindset shift. You need that delayed gratification to just realize it's gonna take time. And you just have to accept that rather than trying to fight it, because that's just how your body works. And there's nothing you can really do to stop yourself from, you can't, like I said, you can't achieve a good physique overnight. It's just not possible. It's not going to happen. So you need to just accept the fact that it's going to take time, but that is what will separate you from other people. That is the difference, because the average person can't stick to something for long enough, and they'll give up at some point. But if you're the type of person that pushes through, has that perseverance and just pushes through, rather than allowing yourself to succumb to the temptations of all this bad food, because bad food is everywhere, and the way food is engineered now is designed to make you addicted to it. To, that's why everyone's so fat and obese. Like I think it's literally less than 1% of the population has abs, or is lean, because majority of people aren't. And like I said, the way they engineer food nowadays, it's literally designed to keep you addicted. It's designed to make you want to eat more, which is why everyone's so fat, and they're doing a good job, because obviously the more you eat, the more money they make, right? So they're doing a good job. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is you don't need as much food as you think you do, right? Like you really don't. Like we don't actually need that much food, but people think we do. People think that we need like loads of food, and what is that saying? More plates, more dates, or something. The more plates you're putting on at the gym is what gets you more dates, and you'll have more successful women and things like that, but which isn't actually true, you know, because the majority of women just want a guy that's lean, looks athletic, looks good, has an aesthetic physique. They don't care for all these big and bulky men that like, got huge muscles. Like a lot of people think when they go gym that they're gonna come out like looking like some bodybuilder, which unless you're injecting yourself with steroids, it's not gonna happen. And you don't need to be that big, to look good, to feel good. You don't need none of that, right? You just need some discipline and some consistency. That's it.